Yeah, you read the title correctly. This has been something that's been bugging me for the past few years. All over the world, gay people have risen up. But on a serious note, I'd make the bet that a good portion of my viewers came to this video going, finally! Unfortunately, the Zest Fest will have to wait. I'll come out in 2045. Out of prison, specifically. Anyways, today I want to talk about the gay issue in the United States military 1940s. The gay issue can be defined by a general sense of homophobia within the group. Welcome to debatably one of my most controversial videos to date. So I want to set a few things straight. First of all, I'm not, but there are genuine prerequisites to this video. About 2 weeks ago, I lost a bet with my friend. The bet doesn't actually matter, but I did have a punishment. The punishment was that my friend got to decide what my profile would say for a day. So my status changed to single as a Pringle heart text and a pride flag as the emoticon. Below that, I had to change the pronouns in my bio to say Z/Zim. Now, I didn't really think people would care. Frankly, I found it hilarious. But along comes the most vile portion of the United States military to strut my way. Out of nowhere, I got a message that read, "Man, I thought you were cool, but you're just gay." Ignoring the blatant homophobia your hot breath just spewed my way, some of the coolest dudes ever were part of the community. I'm talking David Bowie, George Michael, Elton John, Frank Ocean, Lil Nas X, Tyler the Creator, and so on. Before we even delve into this topic, I will admit that some of my favorite people are definitely not cisgender heterosexuals. They literally lead everything from music to fashion to art to whatever. The gays did it first, and that's something that I respect and accept as a cisgender heterosexual male. Most days. Moving on, I have a conversation with this guy who messaged me, and I'd show you it, but he deleted a majority of his messages. That does not only prove he's afraid to speak his mind, it also proves he's a fucking pussy. You want to be homophobic? Go ahead, but at least if you're gonna be wrong, do it the right way. He proceeds to pull up the lame-ass excuse of, "It's my religion." Listen, buddy, I'm religious. I wear two things at all times. One, a charm that my mother gave me. Two, a Celtic cross. I was raised in a church, and I do honestly believe there is a higher power. While some may not agree with me on that, the one thing that stands true is no people are responsible for judging others in the way they live, especially if they are not part of your religion. It is not hard of a concept, and that type of bullshit genuinely makes me want to leave the church, so bravo to you, dipshit. Now, I wouldn't bring this up if it was the only example, but there's definitely more. I go to any random United States military event, and I will bet you that someone drops the F slur. I never really used to care because it doesn't affect me personally, but then I met people who were gay. I learned that words do have meaning in them, and especially slurs. So now if someone drops the F slur, I'm like, dude, you can't say that, stop. And they always like to pull the same boring ass excuse. But what if I am gay? Well, I'll tell you two things for sure. One, you're definitely not. Two, there is something called tone, and you just so happen to angrily yell the word right after you die in game. So I'm gonna play my cards and say that you're probably not gay because at least gay people have temper control. You don't. Now, homophobia has a pretty strong backing in the group, but there's also other problems. Another big issue is racism, for example. Now, this was definitely more prevalent a while back. You'd be in an event with a group and someone would casually drop the N-word. You'd call them out and you get the classic, "But what if I'm black?" Now, I might be wrong on this, correct me if I am, but 95% of the time, you can tell when a white person drops the N-word. You can tell because white people have a very specific way of dropping the N-word. The same way homophobic people like to drop the F-slur, angrily and with a loss of temper. Again, I'm not saying that you can accurately assume the race of someone based on their voice, but when they're dropping the N-word and it just so happens to be screaming at a black play, assumptions can safely be made. There's one more fairly important issue that I'd like to dive into. Sexism. This is not your typical sexism. This is not a glass roof bullshit sexism, no. This sexism can only truly be described in a mock-up conversation. The girl in this conversation goes, "Guys, tank spotted to the right of B near the barn, watch out." To which some random guy in the call usually responds with, "Girl, can I get your number, bumba?" Like, I wish I was kidding when I say this is practically a real conversation, and it's every goddamn time a female speaks too. Like, literally the female could say something completely unrelated to these guys and they'd still ask her out. "Yo guys, my mom just died in a horrific car accident. Her body got sliced into." Like, I'm not trying to be rude to the guys in the group, but please talk to an actual female and have a real conversation with them. They don't want to be asked out every 5 goddamn seconds. Your lack of social ability with the opposite sex is astounding. How can you be so estranged? All of that is also said while ignoring the fact that you don't even know her age first. For example, Rosie was 13 years old and these weird ass dudes who were 16, 17, 18 and up were hitting on her. That shit is foul. You think that's just old news? Fine. Literally 2 weeks ago, they were doing the same shit with Isabel, and as far far as I'm concerned, she is not 18 years of age, so it is not stopped. The only reason the group finally stood up to fine Miller was because he got publicly shamed and it literally took an army to achieve that. But this shit is still happening and it's vile. Like seriously guys, chill out, just let them play the game like the rest of us. Now, I've done a lot of ranting about the issues, and so I thought I'd provide a modest yet feasible solution. So say you were minding your business and one of your prior mentioned examples comes up. Just say that someone dropped the F slur out of rage. You should no longer sit and accept it because silence is complicity. Being silent is as bad as saying the slur in the first place, so all you really have to do is say, you can't say that dude, stop. Now, this is a two birds one stone solution because the only way to kill the problems is at its roots. No roots, no water. This also deals with the issue of people who just happen to develop a habit, unfortunately. Breaking that habit involves calling it out every time that it happens, no matter how annoying, how tedious, you just do it. You very much could be changing the future of this group with one little correction. The solution could practically be applied to any situation. The solution is also not just about homophobia, this could be applied to literally any situation. I also want to mention that I've been throwing stones at a glass house here. I don't say slurs ever, but I have made some pretty dark jokes thus far, and they're sort of foul. The main difference is that when I make a joke, I make it entirely clear that everyone in the proximity knows it's a joke. My jokes are also funny. Dropping the slur is not funny. I make the jokes to break boundaries between minority groups. You make the jokes because you're bigoted. We are not the same. Even with this said, this still does not give anyone an excuse to say slurs unless they are part of the directly affected group. Reclaiming, really. In conclusion, I really do hope my own viewers can ignite the sparks of change within the group. It is vitally important to me that we make change, and I definitely cannot do it alone. With that said, go out there and start being the change you want to see. Now, this has been Gary, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye, gentlemen.